Good afternoon. I don't know what hero you had when you were a teenager or early in your 20s, but I like Batman very much. He was a cool, real guy in a funny costume, very smart and very strict, a real male persona. But as I grew, I started looking around for real heroes of mine. And I think that all of you who are present today are heroes. Why? Because you spend your time and your money to help run the organizations which provide people many opportunities and benefits that you talked about half an hour ago. Do it for free. And among all of you heroes, a certain type of hero stands out. The president of a Toastmaster club. When I think about the president of a Toastmaster club, I imagine something like this. Why is that? Well, in the following speech, I will tell you about what Toastmasters think about responsibilities of the president of a Toastmaster club, and share with you some of my suggestions, my ideas based on my experience, how you can perform the role more effectively. Let's start with the responsibilities that Toastmaster think the president has. Generally, the responsibilities are preside over meetings, earn distinguished club recognition, which you learn about today from Valeria Kholodkova, and lead and guide, a very vague thing, right? Let's talk about preside over meetings. Well, I think the thing is piece of cake. And we shouldn't talk about it. Sergey, Yana, Andrei, and Sergey, right. Two Sergeys have already served at least for 2 months in their roles and know about how they should preside over meetings. Let's skip this part. How should we work towards President Distinguished Club program? Well, I don't think the program is important. And I think it's even bad for clubs, in my opinion. So I don't want to talk about it today. And I will tell you why I disagree with the fact that the program is important in my Vice President Education role. Let's talk about very vague lead and guide part. And according to Toastmasters, there are 4 things in this category. Develop and improve club leadership, they're a vague term as well. Oversee club administration, advance club and member achievement, and interact effectively with other clubs, let's call it this way. Let's start with the first 2. And I think that when we're talking about developing and improving club leadership and overseeing club administration, we are talking mostly about interacting with the executive committees of the club. How do you do that? How do you interact effectively with your executive committee? I think it's important to establish mutual respect within the executive committee first. And then pass the torch to the following executive committee. Once again, how do you establish mutual respect? And what mutual respect means? In my opinion, you have to do 3 things to establish mutual respect within your executive committee. First, you have to clearly define areas of responsibility among officer members. Secondly, you have to make a decision how you should discuss and make decisions about certain common questions that are beyond a certain area of responsibility. And the third one, be ready to get your hands dirty. Once again, I will specify each of those. Clear areas of responsibility. The way I see it, the president and the officers are like knights of the round table. Everyone is equal. and everyone has his or her distinct kingdom. So thank you. Say, if the Vice President of Education thinks that those 3 people should deliver speeches for the next 3 meetings, and you think differently, let the Vice President of Education decide what to do. My personal opinion. Why do I think it's important? Because if you make people, as the President, make people do something, they will feel, well, what is my role here? To listen to some orders? People may stop being motivated because they are not interested, they don't have any say in that. Well, let me tell you a couple of personal stories, and I practice what I preach today. I remember when I was the president, I saw some members that I wanted to be promoted, and I approached then Vice President of Education, Margarita Rindina, and asked her to promote certain people, and she told me, well, Dennis, mind your own business. And I just said, well, as you wish, it's your kingdom, up to you to decide. And there was one situation even when our secretary, then secretary, very active member, Mary Beketova, so active that she founded Toastbusters, being the secretary of Moscow Free Speakers at the moment. She wrote a letter to Margarita Rindina saying that, well, why did you offer that person to deliver his icebreaker in 3 days? You can't do that. An icebreaker should have at least 2 weeks. Margarita Rindina wrote to me, well, Dennis, do something about it. Well, and I wrote them, Margarita is the queen in her kingdom, so her decision is the last one. Mary wasn't very happy about it, but nevertheless, we managed to keep the executive committee working. The second thing, how do you solve some common questions? How do you make decisions? And the way I see it, there are 3 ways to do that. The first one is emperor way. Meaning, what do we do about New Year party? Well, I think we're doing it on the 22nd, and everybody gives 500 rubles. But look, I don't care what you think about. I'm the president, I make decisions. You're the only person who makes decisions. I don't like this kind of approach. And I remember only one person among presidents of Moscow Toastmasters who tried to be an empress. In half a year, the club lost 4 executive committee members. And it was the first time in history of Moscow Toastmasters, when a group of people made the president leave her position. So if you consider becoming an emperor or empress, think twice. An alternative is consensus. Make everyone happy. Agree. Unless everyone agrees, don't do anything. I'm not sure the thing is realistic. When I was the president, we have several questions we spent a year arguing about and haven't come to any common decision. And the third way is, come on, work. Democracy, majority. Just put some timetable, just timeline on the question and vote for it. The majority wins for a decision. Let's keep to that decision. At the very least, of course, not everyone will be happy about the decision. And the thing is, when you vote about anything, make sure every member of the executive committee knows about it and has his or her say about the question. Not everyone will be happy about it, but it will be legitimate. Because we voted, it was open, it was transparent, what can you do about it? And as the president, it will be perfect if you propose something. The majority votes against it and say, well, the mechanism is set, I have to agree with you. Shows that you practice what you preach. That's what we've been doing in the club. I've had some confrontations, but I have to tell you that a year or 2 after we worked as the executive committee, I had Margarita Rindina as the main confrontationist coming to me and saying, well, you weren't that bad a president after all. So it works. Thank you. The third thing, get your hands dirty. What do I mean by that? Sometimes an officer can't fulfill his or her responsibilities either at any given meeting or for some period of time. And in this situation, you either find someone to delegate the work to, or, and it will be a very good one, do the job yourself. Shows that you're not just a commander who says, well, you do that, you do this, you do this, do that. Why don't you do that? Why aren't you working? And the officers start respecting you for that. At least it was the case it was the case for me. We had a situation when Alexander Kravtsun, a very reliable person, a person we respected a lot, Alexei, I respect him, but forgot his name, happens all the time, wasn't able to fulfill his responsibilities. And when we approached him, when other officers approached him about that, he said, well, I will do them, just give me some more time, probably because of his pride. And I approached him personally and said, well, I know you're a reliable person. I know you can do your job, but you probably have taken too much load in the last few days and can't handle that. And he told me, it is the case. So we asked him to leave. He left, and we found Maxim Tsvet, a wonderful person who became the second president of Toastbusters after that. Advanced club and members' achievements, meaning mentoring for me. When you work with the executive committee, you care about general club issues. And as the president, you can help individual people as well, individual members as well. When a new person comes to club, he probably sees the president as something like this or this. The opinion of the president is very important, and you can do a lot of good or a lot of bad to the person. To give you a personal example, when I came to the club, Valeria Kladkova, after some time, then president, and in my opinion one of the best presidents Moscow Toastmasters ever had, offered me to conduct a very special meeting dedicated to the 8th of March. She planned the whole meeting. We bought some flowers, and the meeting was great. I was the general evaluator, and some people gave me 50 out of 10 for my role performance. 50. I received much of the credit for the role, by the way, not Valeria. She's a modest person. After that, she advised me to start writing newsletters, and I wrote some 20 to 30 newsletters. After that, she managed the project. We wrote and submitted an article to the Toastmaster magazine. And by the time when I became the president, I served in many roles and was rather experienced and confident because of her as my personal evaluator. Moreover, she continues to support me and believe in me. And the fact that I'm standing here delivering very important speeches today is because she presented the opportunities to me. Being a very important influential person, mentoring individual members can do a lot of good to the person and the club on the whole. 1 minute, right? Well, I have to wrap up. The other questions I will answer during the question and answer session. I wanted to talk about passing the torch and interacting with the club. And you can ask me either about those issues or other issues you're interested in. Your questions are welcome.
Why are you against discipline?
I wanted to talk about it during the Vice President Education session, and if you don't mind, I will leave it for that part.
My question is, which is we experience in the club, how to grow the people to prepare them to be president? So what kind of environment should the club develop so that members would strive to be in the committee. Because we all the time face the leadership crisis. When the new terms come in, nobody wants to be president, anybody else. So very difficult to get people involved. And the most active people, they sometimes leave the country and and don't proceed. So that was our club. Or we have 3 people who are like rotating.
Once again, the question is related to vice president education experience, but I will answer it. I will answer it right now. There are two kinds of people that are interesting. The first one are active, and they're in your face natural, like myself. Who wants to do the speech? Table topics. Dennis, you're not speaking today anymore. Who else? And there are other shy people, and sometimes you can find really brilliant diamonds among shy people. So it's not only active people, because some presidents who have to leave were very active as well, but sometimes shy people that you actually say, well, why don't you try doing that? You can be a very good officer, and he or she can tell, well, maybe I'm not sure you can do that. The person tries to do that and becomes a very good officer. To give you examples, Evgenia Maseyeva, who was a very wonderful vice president PR, I'm very sorry for that, who made many of our meetings